Arkansas boy with a lifelong plan took the oath like his old man, then turned around proud and shook his hand. L.A. kid stood right behind, took a deep breath and signed on the line, while tears streamed from his mama's eyes. They hopped right up on that Greyhound bus, swapping stories. They laughed and cussed, and they talked about the girls that they loved. They made a pact, shined up their boots, got the call before it hit the news. No clue what they were about to do. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Finish This Fight Hour. My name is Glenn Baker. I am your host. It's 3:05-ish Eastern time on Wednesday. We had a little bit of technical difficulty. We got it all squared away, and we are on the roll. Guys, I kind of put some teasers out a couple of days ago and yesterday and then again today. I don't watch TV. I turned my TV off years ago, although I have one. And because I get Amazon through my mail, I have Prime. So occasionally I'll stream some stuff and just like background noise. But I started paying attention a couple of months ago. And when you stream, they do have commercials. And those commercials on streaming, 75% of that is from the pharmaceutical world. And it just started hitting me over and over and over and over. They're talking about my heart disease and my cancer and my diabetes and always using the personalized terms, your heart disease, your cancer. And I really started paying attention and then started finding some other keys that just blows my mind, the psychological manipulation of NIH in the pharmaceutical world. So I began to think, Glenn, you're just a dumb old country boy. How are we going to get this out to the world? And the way we're going to do it is my great friends. I got some great friends, y'all, and I'm going to bring them in right now. I want you to say hello to Dr. Judy Mikovits, to Lisa Hill, an entrepreneur and truth sayer, and to my old buddy Tim Dillard, who's casting out demons in Houston today. Hey, guys, how we doing?
Hey.
So, Judy, you and I had a phone call about 2 weeks ago, I guess, about this thing, and let's talk about that a little bit. You and I called you up and said, hey, Judy, I don't know if you ever thought about this. I should have known better. I should have known better. But I've seen recently, the psychological manipulation that's taking place in the NIH and the Big Pharma. And sis, in my opinion, it's way, way bigger than psychological manipulation. It's bigger than programming. I believe it to be spiritual warfare. Talk to me about our conversation, and then let's move on, and I'm going to let you do a lot of the talking, you kids.
Yeah, well, and it is spiritual warfare, as we know, because we're being lied to. We were talking about the commercials, and you mentioned a couple of drugs, and I do watch TV, and I watch these commercials very carefully because I know what they're trying to do to program us, to addict us, to put us in this fear state. And I don't mean fear of the Lord. I mean, fear, just fear.
Oh.
And so that they're telling us, that you have to, all of these drugs, and people are dancing around. And I mean, I love the commercials because I'm sitting there with Grok saying, okay, what is this? Because I know the chemical form. And we talked about a couple that I'll let you introduce to the rest of the crowd. And it's like, wow, they're really doing this. And I was last week in Phoenix, and I learned from Jonathan Emord and the nutritional health from Worldwide, Robert Kirk and Melanie. And we were talking about what the FDA is actually doing, because you see, when our 2011 and 9 paper came out, And they realized all the XMRVs, all the xeno foreign proteins, foreign poisons that they stuck in us. Now they have all these drugs they can't use because they, in fact, had monkey, mouse, cow, pig, aborted fetal cell lines, and the 1986 Vaccine Injury Act and the compensation program means they had to kill everyone who they caused the disease in. So I had it my way. No, there's only one God and it's not you. So that's what we were talking about. We were talking about one of the compounds, but I said, oh, that's HER2 new. What is HER2 new? What is Herceptin for triple negative breast cancer? Who first used Herceptin in the National Cancer Institute and out in Epigenics and Genius Pharmaceuticals in Santa Barbara? But we did, and we used it as a single agent, and we were curing cancers just like that. Well, HER2 new, they named it after it rhymes with Jew, and this is exactly what these criminals in our National Cancer Institute did. So now they've got to offload all these drugs on you because they can't call them vaccines anymore. So every single shot.
Sis, that's the one that blew me away. Was HER2. That was the one that blew me away, was HER2. And I did a little digging on that last night too, and where it was an acronym that was just, it was just accidentally an acronym like that, blows my mind. Let me introduce these other two real quick. Now, Lisa, you and I I've heard about you for a while, but today is the first time we've met face to face in any way, shape, or form. Talk to me a little bit about you and what you do and how you were involved with Dr. Judy and what's going on in your world.
Well, I became aware of Dr. Judy almost 15 years ago. And I admired her work. I admired how she was putting together really solutions. But most of all, she was waking people up. And so I spent 27 years as a trauma nurse and in traditional medicine. And then I went into alternative health. And then I discovered that if we didn't get out to the people and show them what we've created, we'd be nothing, right? So I started my own marketing company. And I basically help to educate the public on really what's going on through people such as Dr. Judy. And I know Tim and his strength and his amazing path in the field of faith leaders. And so that's really been my heart, to educate people and to bring tools and solutions. Because when COVID hit, what happened? Everybody sat at home, wringing their hands. What are we going to do? And then there really wasn't a lot of solutions until, I believe, halfway through and then almost to the end. And then, of course, everybody got slammed. Everybody got jailed. I mean, it was crazy, crazy, crazy time. But now is our redemption period where people are looking and going, you know what Dr. Judy said years ago, that's the truth. Now, how do I get my body healthy? Because my mantra has been for years, you can't fight with a sick body. And because our times are changing, who would have thought years ago when I was taking care of, trauma patients in the emergency room, that would be the least of our concerns and our challenges in 2020, 2021, 2022. And the way that the treatment of those patients, we won't even go into that on this show, but that's where I'm standing as well as the treatment and how they handled that whole atrocity that happened to each and every one of us. So I support individuals such as Judy and Tim and the other that are in the fight, and you, sir, because that's what the Lord has commissioned me to do, is to fill the cannons at the cannonballs so all of them can do the work.
Well, I know you're a warrior. I've been told about you for a couple of years now, and I'm happy to meet you. Thanks for coming on the show. Let's go to Tim Dillard. Tim, you knucklehead, how you doing today, man?
I was born a poor black child.
Yes, you were. You're melanin deficient right now. Do we have any kind of supplements to help him with that?
Hey.
I'm sure we do.
Yeah. Tim, let's talk about why you're on the show today, because your background and your spiritual background makes it pretty important for me, because we're in a spiritual battle. This is
it's no coincidence what just happened me at the Panda Garden. I hadn't been to my favorite Chinese restaurant in probably 2 years, just because I'm so bogged down in my office on my computer and doing stuff. I text you this. I'll just tell it real quick. I went to my favorite Chinese restaurant. I walked in and there's a smell of sewage in the place. So I think it's sewage. and it's at the front of the restaurant. And I'm like, man, I can't sit here. And they said, well, it doesn't smell. I don't think it smells that bad in the back. But I go to the back, and there is this woman, psychiatrist, we'll call her schizophrenic. We'll say that. And, or man, I can't tell if it's a woman or man, Hindu, probably, because this part of Texas is probably 50% Muslim and Hindu now outside of Houston. And I walked by and I could hear it, and it's the right word, going like that, and more under its breath at that point. So I sat down across and I was watching. I was talking to Lisa, right, Lisa? You were on the phone with me.
Yes.
Yeah. And all of a sudden it got really loud, and I'm just wired this way. If there's a fire, I run at it.
Yeah.
And, it's just a private fire. Can anybody join in? And so I just looked over, and while I'm talking to Lisa, and I go, shut up, that loud. And the whole restaurant turns, and I don't care. And Lisa's like, oh, I got to go now. and so I maintained eye contact, and the waiter's going, I said, give me the same thing I had 2 years ago, sesame chicken, hot and sour soup, fried rice. And then it got real loud and vociferous. Oh. And I just stood up and walked over with, you're going to shut up now. And looks up at me, and in the name of Jesus, do you understand that name? He, like a 5-year-old child, all of a sudden goes, yes, sir. Just like that. Yes, sir. I said, now, I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to the demon controlling you. I'm just talking that. I'm talking at least that loud. Everybody in the restaurant has stopped, obviously. And I couldn't care less. I said, I'm talking to the demon that's controlling you. And it goes, yes, sir. I said, do you want me to cast you out, or are you going to shut up? He said, I'll be quiet. Just like that. And I said, you say another word, I'm going to cast it out of you. Do you understand me? Yes, sir. Didn't say another word. Didn't say another word. And then the best part of that story, which is for most people, this would be unusual. But for me, it would be unusual if it didn't happen. As she's walking out, or he's walking out, and I'm sitting there because I moved seats so I could see the whole restaurant. And if we had the video of the 3 Chinese waiters looking at me while it was going on, that would have made a great comedy. But I changed seats so I could see everything in the restaurant and just get myself in the position for anything. And after a while, it got up and was walking. As it's walking out, the song "Tainted Love" is playing, and the lyrics said, "So once I ran from you, now I'll run to you. It's tainted love you get." And then it talks about praying as it's walking out. Those are the lyrics playing. So that was today. But while Judy's talking and Lisa's talking, and then we're talking by text before this, we're in a spiritual battle.
Yeah.
And my role, Judy, you don't know me as well. Lisa, no, I'm a redneck. I'm 50% redneck, 50% hillbilly, 50% Cajun, and 50% Texan. Real good at math too. I'm going around because I know what we've got to do. We've got to unite people.
Yes.
And we have we have 3 things that we're doing, and there's a lot of people with us, and we're going to do that. That's our 2 for America project. Then we've got to reclaim our culture. And Judy, you don't know about this, but they do. And our culture project, we got 230 acres out in between Houston and Austin. So it's right in the middle of a 250-mile radius. There's 25 million people. And we're reclaiming all the monuments that have been taken out of the public square. And we're going to build all new ones and all new statues and stuff. We're going to make, our goal is to make Mount Rushmore, built in 41, just looked like it was built in 1941. And we hadn't done anything for almost, 84 years now that we should have been doing to commend American greatness. And we're going to capture the truth of history. And our third thing is we got to take control of the money. And everybody's focused on the central banking and the new currencies that they think might come about. And it's not that. They took over our money supply in the late 1800s after killing Abraham Lincoln, changing the rules that he had set up. And they took over our marketplace. And that's where you got your robber barons. And they were worth $1 billion in the 1800s because they took control of buying and selling. And we know that Satan's ultimate aim, according to Revelations, is to take control of buying and selling. And we've got a technology that will change the rules of buying and selling. And this last thing I'll say is that another one of the lies, Judy, and Lisa and Glenn that we've been sold is that the golden rule is those who have the gold make the rules. That's not the golden rule. That's the rule that the people with the gold want to make you think is the golden rule, because the golden rule is actually those who make the rules get the gold. So to take control of the buying and selling, you just change the rules. And that's what we've done with our third piece of our project that we're working on, which is all supposed to start rolling out, hopefully, as CPAC comes into Texas in March. And we've been deep inside of all these things forever. And with that, I'll say goodbye. Thank you. Good night.
Have a good night. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to go private here real quick on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm taking a look at the counter right now. We are at 1% of what normally we have for an audience on live today. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because we have the wonderful Dr. Judy Mikovits on with us. And they don't like her in the government world and the media world and that kind of thing. So here's what I need you to do. Right now, while you're watching, go to share and share this thing everywhere you can. We need to get this information out. So let's jump on that. Go share this right now. Dr. Judy, I'm jumping back to you. Pharmacy, what's the root word? Where did it come from? And then let's go on to these diseases and these new drugs that they're talking about.
Well, we all know about the pharmacopoeia. I prefer to do what Lisa and I have been doing, and that's pharmacy with an F. And I'm here in Punta Gorda, Florida, at Real Food Knowledge, and you can see on the flyer behind me, the chemicals spraying through the air and the dead leaves on the tree and the soil and the roots that don't bear any fruit. We're talking about bearing fruit, and what we've done, our most precious resource, of course, our air, our water, our land, our food supply. So we're here about real food knowledge. It's called RFK. and real food knowledge in Maha. And you see, I've got the 250 on here today. And the real food knowledge in the Maha, we're here, and we're powdering the food. We're cleaning it up. We're working with the great folks like Ed Group at Global Healing right there in Houston, and the microsomal processing and sound therapy. We've got sound living here. We've got Tesla coils, and we're putting the frequency, putting people back in theta, removing the trauma, getting it so they can actually have nutrients for their body. We don't need to supplement. And by the way, God didn't need genetic modification, and there's no such thing as fortified milk. It's poison. Right. And we don't make supplements, and we don't need supplements. It's that we genetically modified 90% of our food supply. We're not getting essential amino acids, meaning we have to get them from our diet. We're not, because our soil is dead. Roundup, glyphosate. It's not a weed killer. It's a soil killer. And so we're here just trying to grow, baby, grow, as Trump Kennedy say, and get our soil. Get our foundation set back where we were in America when everything was made here. And we did make great drugs for those 46 years and counting that I've worked for the National Cancer Institute. Hey, fermenting. Making drugs from plants. That's fermentation. That's chemistry. That's molecular biology. And all we have to do is powder it, clean it up, put it back. And once we have our air clean, our water clean, and of course our skies clean again, we can heal America.
Judy, we take sauerkraut and it makes us feel great. That's the same thing, right? That's fermented cabbage. We eat a lot of
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fermentation. I'm a fermentation chemist first, starting June 10th, 1980, the National Cancer Institute, where we started the Biological Response Modifiers program in 1983, our God-given biological response modifiers. You can't heal without nutrients. You can't heal without food, water, and air.
Well, Judy, every time you and I talk, I'm going to say this. Let's bring it down to where an old country boy can understand it, or country girl, whoever might be watching this. We've been lied to for a long, long, long time.
Yeah.
To the point where it's becoming ingrained almost into our DNA. Well, my doctor said, well, the drug companies said, well, the studies say. Let's talk a little bit about that and what's going on. We've been in what they call the Great Awakening for the last, 5 to 7 years, 8 years, something like that. A lot of people have awakened to see what's going on. There's still a lot of people that haven't. But we found, you and I and Lisa and Tim and many others, I think, have found recently how brazen and bold these pharmaceutical companies are getting. Let's talk about the naming of drugs. Let's talk about the commercials that we were talking about. Lisa, you and I haven't chatted about that, but I know you and Judy have been. Have you seen that as well?
Let me share I can only speak from my own personal experience or what I believe has occurred. But, when I was working in the hospital, I would watch. I saw this, the drug reps that come along with their lunches and, it'd be a lunch grab and away you would go. And I'd walk behind the doctor carrying the PDR and explain to him what we just learned over a Subway sandwich. But then it got to the point where the doctors I watched one doctor walk away with 2 boats that he was given by one of the pharmaceutical companies. Another doctor was given a all expense trip to, Europe. And I'm scratching my head going, how in the world, what's going on here? So they had the ability to watch and record how much medication and pharmaceutical drugs a doctor was actually, was actually prescribing. And then they would come down hard on the doctors. I saw this, and this is one of the reasons I left. But I also saw the amount of medication along with diet that we were giving people that were very ill. And I was scratching my head going, how in the world is that supposed to make somebody healthy? Well, because a lot of times the minute that your feet hit the door of a hospital, your demise was before you, because we gave them no constructive instructions on how to stay healthy or even what the base concern was that their body was on itself. And so I watched that. And so again, the interest and the passion that I have for, I don't even say alternative. Judy and I talk about this all the time. This is a way of life. It's not an alternative. It's finding what your body and your cells need at the cellular level.
Well, and you guys are way ahead of me on that. I know it's to be true. I've been around Dr. Judy long enough. I've been around some other folks in this movement long enough to know. But I was completely mesmerized as well. That's a crazy word, mesmerized. But it's true, and that's what's going on. So I want to talk about one of the things that I saw recently. And I had this in the background, but I started paying attention to a couple of commercials. One of those being PrEP. Now, PrEP is a drug that's marketed primarily in the homosexual community, and it's marketed as a lifestyle drug, not a fixer. What does that mean? Well, that means if you are HIV negative, and Judy, I know you can go deeply into the world of HIV, but if you're HIV negative, PrEP may allow you to not worry about getting HIV. What does that mean? It means you can go do whatever the crap you want to do, taking this and not worry about getting it. That one blew my dadgum mind for that one. The evil that they're pushing. Okay, Glenn, quit being a bigot. It's not, it's the evil that they're pushing. Number 2 was, and you mentioned it earlier, Dr. Judy, the HER2. Now, when did they start using that acronym for a form of breast cancer, which I discovered recently also talks about is in the lung and it's in the lining of the stomach, things like that. Judy, when did they start using that acronym?
Well, in fact, when, God didn't make oncogenes, meaning cancer-causing genes. And all you have to do is look at the fact that Harold Varmus, who was one of the perpetrators of this fraud in 1999, when he led the NIH, he got the Nobel Prize. And again, we all know what the Nobel Prize is. Guy made dynamite. For oncogenes, cancer-causing genes. So HER2 knew when that gene was cloned, again, BRCA1, it's a radiation repair gene. God gave us a biological response modifier for when you're being poisoned in the air. There's no breast cancer one. And then they made breast cancer 2, prostate cancer. Well, the scientist, and I probably don't remember his name, and that's a good thing, he named the gene HER2 knew, and then he made a drug called Herceptin. I used that in 2000 as a single agent on a nutrient foundation and cured for 6 years. They won't let you think about how to use a therapy. It's just they're injecting it all over again. They renamed it now that they've poisoned you again. In 2009, when our science paper showed Xeno injecting foreign mouse, monkey, cow, pig, aborted fetal cell line, mRNA, DNA, and protein was causing this explosion of chronic disease. They never cleaned up the goals or the shots. And why do they give Magic Johnson HIV by way of hepatitis B vaccine? Look at what Trump Kennedy have done for us. Oh, you got hepatitis B down at birth. Hepatitis B vaccine is how HIV got into humans. Never was lymphadenopathy virus. Luc Montagnier isolated. Never had anything to do with gay-related immune deficiency. Magic Johnson wasn't a gay man, an IV drug user, or a prostitute. My PhD thesis, November 14th, 1991. Keep your innate immune system, eat a few plants, get some real food knowledge in, and you'll never, not only will you never get AIDS, you won't die of it. That was
Judy, talk to us real quickly about why you have the authority to be able to say this when it comes to HIV.
46 years. My PhD thesis, November 14th, 1991. In fact, the degree was conferred February 17th, 1992, yesterday. Yeah, so that we cured AIDS 40 years ago by just nutrifying, nutrition, keep our innate immune system healthy with those biological response modifiers. So now they got a real drug problem in the USA because they can't use one of these ever again as a vaccine. So what do? The number one biologic. Hey, it's biologic. It's manufactured. It's an XMRV. It's SARS-CoV-2 was made in 2004 and injected in every polio flu shot. Could not possibly have caused COVID, just like HIV didn't cause AIDS, even though they injected it. So now the government has a problem because they have to pay. What did ACT UP do for us? You have to pay. Especially in California, you make less than $72,000 a year and you're HIV positive, and they have to pay for all of your treatment, give you that prep on that TV. That's what they don't want. It's $1 trillion, and so they're going to get you to get stupid. STOOPID, as President Trump always says. They're going to get you to get stupid and own your cancer. It ain't your cancer, folks. It never was your behavior. Never was your behavior. You were injected. Your cows were injected. Your pigs were injected. Your plants were injected. Genetically modified food ain't food. God didn't make junk food. God didn't make junk DNA. I'm sorry, it's all a lie. It's all satanic.
I want to come back to that your thing, right? Because that's really important. That's really important. But on this HER2, let's move a little bit forward, because one of the things that blew my mind was seeing the commercial for a drug called InHER2. It immediately rang my bell. I'm like, why is somebody not talking about this? Because that is personalizing HER2, your cancer, your breast cancer. And guys, the reason that is so important is when you start personalizing, taking ownership, whether it's good or whether it's bad, there are power in our words. There is power in our thoughts. We are bringing that into our bodies and solidifying it. You can solidify your health, but you can solidify your death. And I believe that's what's taking place right now in the pharmaceutical world, and the NIH world is causing people to take ownership of something that's not theirs to take ownership of. Tim, what are your thoughts on that real quick, buddy?
Proverbs 18, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. And so they get us saying the things that they want us to say. Satanists have been ruling the world, as we're finding out clearly now from the Epstein drops, which, by the way, there's only 3% of the data that's been dropped because they're not dropping the video information, which shows all these people doing all the things that they're talking about in the emails. But then you get to Mark 11, and I'll be the biblical guy today, where it says, those who ever say it shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed and cast in the sea. When you study the Greek out on that say, it's not saying that you, and I was actually taught this and it's wrong, that you keep saying it. You just say it and say it. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to say it with authority is what it says. Yep. You study the Greek basis for it. You're supposed to have authority. And that goes back to Jesus saying, things I do, you shall do also, and the greater things you're going to do because I go to the Father.
Well, that's a whole other lesson too, Tim. When you're talking about you can't have authority without having faith. You can't have faith without having a relationship. You can't have a relationship without submitting to God. There's a whole plan right there. It's real simple, but it's really something.
The only recorded guy, and my goal is to be the second guy recorded for this. It's a joke that said God, a man after God's own heart, was David, and the preacher will have you believe that was because he was always quick to repent. Bull crap. David was a fighter. He saw what was wrong and he went after it. He screwed up. He killed people. He's full of lust and everything else. No, David didn't quit. I mean, you don't know these two women. I mean, Judy, I've seen you, I don't know, 50 times, at least 30 of those on Alex Jones. You've probably been on them more than that. Pretty much, I sit here and work 16 hours a day and just have Alex Jones and other things on all day long. So I've seen you a bunch, and I know what a fighter you are. And I've known Lisa now for 4 years, and we're business partners, and she's a fighter. And
I've been called worse, Tim. I've been called worse.
Yeah, well, I've called you worse many times. That's a joke. That's a joke. But yeah, so going back to the story of the demon-possessed Hindu person, and I want to say Hindu person because those gods are being brought in here into America.
Yeah.
And it's creating even more chaos in the spiritual realm that is now manifesting itself physically. I think it's there as much as anything to create as much chaos to keep us from this great awakening that's trying to happen with people like Judy and Lisa and others that are trying to lead it from the healthcare perspective. And we're getting, everybody's waking up to the vaccines and the poison in the food. I mean, we just saw a report on the number of glyphosates, and there's a numerical measurement, I think, right, Judy? Yeah. And in all the different breads, they got all the different, and the organic bread had more glyphosates in it than, believe it or not, Pepperidge Farm. Pepperidge Farm, I don't know if you saw that, just came out just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday.
Yeah. And so Pepperidge Farm. So guess what we're buying last night? Pepperidge Farm bread. But that's an example of what's happening. This great awakening is happening. Yeah. And my role is I'm like a redneck, hillbilly, Cajun, Texan version of Columbus. I'm saying, look, we have a new America. Because what he did, the backstory on him is everybody thought he was insane. Well, he and I are in great company there. Most people think that of me and these other two ladies here. And he went around all over Europe going, God wants me to found a new country. God wants me to found a new country. That's my role. We have the three things, not to undermine this topic of today, but we're not going to get to all of this unless we fight something in the macro. What Judy is fighting right now is the result of these things, of these people that are now being exposed in the Epstein files, these people that sit in the macro and orchestrate this over centuries now.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. This is the unfolding of centuries of evil. And now you see it in this latest drop. The name Rothschild is in that drop alone 11,000 times. Right? So all these people that I've been saying the word Rothschild to now for 17 years that I've been awake, and everybody goes, yeah, the Rothschilds, and made fun of me forever and all of that. Well, now they're all going, wow, the Rothschilds are in here 11,000 times. I'm going, no. I said it 12,000 times myself over the years. So we have this great awakening that's beginning to happen. We have people like Judy and Lisa that are on the health, the MAHA side of this thing. But that's all the result. They're fighting the result. They're fighting the cancer that was created by varmints and people like that. I hadn't heard that name. I'm deep diving him already. That's the beauty of AI. And this result is down here. What I am fighting is the macro. And the only way we're going to do that is we come together. And Judy, we have this thing called Two for America, where we can get all the Christian ministry people, and it's already spreading around the world, on July 3rd to pray for 2 minutes for America. We got an app. It does it, everything automated. And then on November 1st, our goal is 2 billion people around the world. It's already spread. I was on with Khalila Ali, I think thanks to you, Glenn, right? Didn't she come on? And she's like, well, the Muslims want to pray for America. The next thing I know, we got Hindus saying, well, we want to pray for America. Buddhists are saying that. We hadn't had any atheists or Satanists yet, but I'm prepared for that. But I had 500 pastors from Pakistan on 4 weeks ago. And they're like, we're spreading this. We have people calling us from China, from Abu Dhabi. We want to pray for America. Well, that's that innocuous, non-threatening, simple, anybody can pray for 2 minutes for America. And that's what's going to bring us together. Mm-hmm. And then we'll do the other 2 parts of our project as the outgrowth of that. But all of that
here's the crazy part. You just mentioned innocuous and non-threatening. That's kind of what we're talking about right now. Mm-hmm. The devil's side has an innocuous and non-threatening attack as well. And one of those innocuous and non-threatening attacks is in HER2. It's PrEP. It's things that, well, that's for me. Talk to me, Judy. You're shaking your head, baby girl. Talk to me about in HER2. How freaking crazy evil is that?
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing is, unlike what Tim just said, the only thing I'll disagree is we aren't fighting it. We prevented it starting June 10th, 1980. We walked in, and on the cover of Time magazine, March 31st, 1980, the day before my birthday, was a little cow snot purified. It's called Paximune. True vaccine. Vaca means cow, from our founding fathers. I'm a Thomas Jefferson, our founding father student from the University of Virginia, and hey, George Washington University, where my molecular biology degree. No, we prevented this all along. What was meant for evil, we're like, no, that's no problem. I looked at them like they were insane in my PhD thesis, because they were, will he die of AIDS? I'm like, no, all he has to do is and it's like, and he didn't, and he just won another World Series, but they lied about what he did do, like this HER2 and these drugs. Oh, PrEP, you know what that is? That's an oral immunization. Now the government has to give it to everybody, and all I have to do is set that on a foundation of real food knowledge. Do you know they knew in 2008 that if you take fenbendazole or nutrients or vitamins or whatever alone, you will drive cancer? It acts like an asbestos, but put the 2 together and use them at really low dose at the right time, and you cure cancers, and you don't need the microtubulin drugs that we all have that are like the HER2s. So they knew that, and now everybody's running around drinking fenbendazole at 10 times the dose, and it's like, because they know we're living in this fear porn. Slow it all down, get your act together, pick up a Bible, and just take back, get real food knowledge. It's not information and it's not data. When I show you the mechanisms, you might not understand it, but they know I know. They know I know, and that's our great nurse Yvette here at Real Food Knowledge, as we're healing people with frequency, and if we don't, it almost doesn't matter what it is. And I know it sounds insane, but it's so easy to fix this.
Well, it may sound insane, Judy. It may sound insane, Judy, but the only reason it would is because we've been programmed to believe what really sounds insane.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, if you really dig into, let's talk about the HER2, because this is the one that blew my mind. Let's talk about that real quick. And I broke it down last night. I think I sent you over. Let's break down the word EN, empowerment and enabling. So at the beginning of that word, in her too is en. It's an empowering and enabling. It's a psychological lead. The middle bridge is her. It's your identity. It's in her, which is obvious. I mean, it says it. And then the suffix, the destination too. It's in her too. That's all inclusive. So what it comes down to then is if you're diagnosed with this HER2, well, there's a drug out there that's called InHER2. Don't worry about it. It's normal. Everybody gets it. Own your cancer and just take this drug and you can go about and do whatever you want to do. That's what's blowing my mind. It's the psychological manipulation. It's the brainwashing. Oh, Glenn, that's freaking crazy. You can't brainwash. Bull crap. Go back 5 years to when this COVID debacle, the pandemic that I believe Dr. Judy coined the term, this COVID debacle took place. My first concert back in the country music world was scheduled for March the 28th, 2020. March the 22nd, I was in the gym working out. Everything was normal. March the 23rd, Fort Lauderdale was a ghost town. Why was it a ghost town? Because we'd been programmed to believe the crap that was being spewed out. I went to the gym and I made a funny, fake zombie apocalypse video making fun of everybody that was gone. And my words at that point were, this won't last 4 weeks. The American people will wake up and have enough of this and it'll be over. I was projecting my thoughts onto the American people at that point because it's not the case. I still see people today walking their dog on the beach with a mask on, Judy.
Oh, yeah.
Saw it yesterday.
One thing I wanted to share as well is we talk about what they're doing is the depopulation of America. That's a really important point. And Judy talks about this all the time. You know, they have presented an environment of fear. People as far as having the children, but also having poor health, so they cannot, their infertility is off the charts. And then number 3 is they have created this environment so that the body cannot reproduce. Mm-hmm. So think about that, guys. I mean, where are we going to be 5, 10, 15 years down the road? We don't have children in America. We don't have this population.
That's the goal.
That's
the goal. Judy, Judy, but wait, you said something that was even more interesting to me. Did you say that article was published the day before your birthday and it was published on March 31st?
Yes.
So your birthday is April 1st?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have time
there's something incredibly appropriate about that.
we don't have time to dive into the April Fool rabbit hole because there is one there. Lisa, let's talk about a hard truth. When this jab was pushed out and everybody threatened that you got to take the shot and all that stuff, and even doctors even pushing it on pregnant women. Let's talk about this. How many do you know pregnant women that almost immediately lost their pregnancy? There was a lot of them.
There was a lot of them, yes. And they would call crying and they didn't understand. I know Judy got the same phone calls, probably 10,000 times more than me, but there was this confusion. And when we talk about the depopulation of what they are attempting to do, that's exactly what they're attempting to do. Judy has the wisdom and the background to be able to share about the pathways and exactly how something works in the body and how something doesn't work in the body, which is her brilliance. And the rest of us just stand around and look at the results of what we've been doing and we go, why and how did this happen? That's why she's so critically important to what we are doing right now. And I look at how they have tried to silence her. I mean, along with other people, but golly, it's time for us to have our voice back again, right? Mm-hmm. For us to
agree.
Around people like Dr. Judy that are in the field that they are, pushing the envelope.
Well, and I think we get it when we do things like this show, like Glenn. Yes. So we met at the Stay Awake America tour, and you mentioned all the fear porn. And so that features, that's something General Flynn, Ohio Amy do. And it's Pastor Casper McLeod. And he wrote a book, What Was I Thinking? And one of my mentors, heroes, one of the people I followed around and tried to figure out what she was thinking was Candace Pert. Molecules of emotion. You know, it's God didn't create cytokine storms. He created fire dancers. You know, I'm a Cherokee too. He created fire dancers, not firestorms. You know, it's not a cytokine storm. I mean, she's so great. I won't say this one. It's actually funny, but this is with Luc Montagnier, heroes, Bruce Lipton. You know, all we did was look at how God gave us those natural protection, biological. Do you know that cow interferon, and all we did was blow a virus? Here's my job at Fort Detrick: blow a virus in a cow's nose and the whole herd, and then just collect all the cow snot in a bucket and purify it for the type 1 interferons. That's how easy it is. And the government wouldn't let you have that in 1980. The government wouldn't let you have that in 1990. Candace Pert, the core of my PhD thesis was peptide T. Now the 2020 version is called DAPTA. You think we got an mRNA vaccine that'll cure HIV and AIDS-associated malignancies? Gave it to Maha last week, the whole thing and all the proof of what the government did. Every email, nothing redacted. Have some fun, kids, because we're going to bring back what the taxpayers paid for. We saved it and we protected it with our lives. And we're not ever going to give up on those heroes. They were killed over it. Candace Pert was killed in 2013 for standing with me.
Well, Judy, that's a whole other rabbit hole too. There's a lot of people that lost their lives for standing up. You've got one right there in your home that lost his life because you were standing up. So, you know, people can say all day long, well, Glenn, you're a conspiracy theorist. Okay, that's a made up word. It doesn't bother me at all. You call me whatever you want to. The truth of the matter is that it's the truth of the matter. We've been feared to death. We've been feared to death. More people have died in the last 5 years based on fear than died in Vietnam in the whole time we were at war, that died in World War II than when we were in war. More people have died of fear-based reasons in the last 5 years, and we got to stop that. The Word of God says that God does not give a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. First thing you got to do is come to God. If you don't know him, I dare you right now, reach out, call out to a loving God and ask him to show himself, to reveal himself to you. And he will. That's the very first thing you got to do. From that point out, you've got decisions to make. And those decisions are going to be, are you going to operate in fear or are you going to operate in faith? Because whatever you feed is what grows. Whatever you feed in your life is what grows. Whatever you starve dies. And so your job really right now is to starve the fear. And the only way to do that is through God and through people like Dr. Judy and through Lisa and through Tim. They're going to speak truth into your life. So let's flip this script a little bit, because we've talked about a lot of fear and we've talked about psychological manipulation. We've talked about programming. Let's talk about hope and faith, and what can folks do that maybe are just the beginning of their awakening. What can they do? Judy, bring it down to a 5th grade level, girl. You speak in your sleep, and I don't understand what you're saying. So you got to bring it to the country boy level. What can these folks do that are being, okay, maybe somebody told them they got HER2. Maybe somebody's just been told, hey, you got diabetes. Somebody's just been told you're pretty susceptible to cancer. There is things that we can do. You're not going to hear it on mainstream media. You're not going to hear it through the nightly news. You're going to hear it through Dr. Judy Mikovits and Lisa Hill and Tim Dillard and maybe Glenn Baker every now and again. Judy, take the floor, baby.
Well, as you said, you start with the Bible. It's right there in Genesis. It's right there in Genesis, and you start there. And I love the Founder's Bible, because that teaches me what our founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson was our founding father scientist, as I mentioned. Benjamin Rush was the physician. And of course, I spend a lot of time in Noah Webster's 1828 dictionary, because the word immunization doesn't exist, but immunity is freedom from government tyranny. So when targeted, all my sister-in-law, they just have the problem. My brother's name is Jay. My initials are Judy Mikovits. That's not a good thing. They don't want to have, if you're a D or a K, you're fine, but they didn't know which one because 3 of us were born in 57 or 58. Watch Plandemic and watch it in reverse order, starting with Plandemic, the musical, and you'll see that we won. Don't stop with the fear porn and get to places. I mean, so all they did was they turned their company, which had our bad name in it, and they turned it into Real Food Knowledge, RFK. It's just brilliant. And then we just brought powdered food and natural healing, and people who know and have healed this and have experienced this for more time than I've been here for the last 80 years. This started in 1934 for us with the chronic disease explosion. All we have to do is put the food back, clean up the soil, clean up the air, clean up the water. It's easy. It's easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. Yeah. It's not so complex. Forget all those big words. If you sit down and you watch those commercials at night, it's hysterically funny. Farsiga, you don't even know what they're talking about. And you can't write it down fast enough. And then when you ask Grok, fight with Grok at night. I said, hey, Grok. Oh, so it's glyphosate, it's Roundup, it's a soil killer. So, in fact, Robert F. Kennedy, Secretary Kennedy, flipping the food pyramid, saying, stop eating processed food, just eat real food. So he flipped it, and I said, so he's absolutely right. And they said, yes, he's absolutely right. And I said, so Dr. Judy Mikovits is right. No, Dr. Judy. And it's really seriously funny. And it's like, so Grok's like, and it's like, Dr. Mikovits, I'm sorry, there was a consensus that said there's no such thing as consensus. So the Obama brought back propaganda in 2012.
Legally,
propaganda.
Yeah. Smith-Mundt Act, yeah.
Your medical journals are propaganda. It's all a lie.
A dear friend of Judy and I is Mike Smith. If you haven't watched the movie Out of the Shadows, that will give you a peek into what happened years ago. I mean, he struggled to put that movie out. And now he's been revered for, being on the forefront of what was going on in Hollywood. And that's what's going on in our life every day.
That is so important to highlight because, again, it's been hidden for so many years that really took place. But if people would just look at that and say, okay, propaganda was made legal in 2012 by Obama rescinding the Smith-Mundt Act. And from that point on, it's been out in the open. All of a sudden, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they're not hiding right now.
No.
Everything they're doing is out in the open. And people are just so conditioned to trust that it just goes right over their head. All you got to do is open up.
And just spend our time. Watch this. Come to these events. Come to these places.
You locked up, Judy. Lisa, I want to come back to you while she's locked up. And we're talking about the pharmaceutical world and the natural health world. This is new for a lot of people. Where can folks go? I know you two are working on some stuff together. Where can folks go to get more info instead of just a real quick 1 hour?
Is there a Real Food Knowledge website?
Yes, RFK. You can look that up. RFK Center, and it's in Florida. That's where Judy is right now. But go to her website, therealdrjudy.com, and there's a plethora of information. One of the things because I'm solution driven, right?
In a fun way.
Judy, we've lost everything you said for the last minute. You locked up.
There you are.
Yeah. Sorry. That's because they always don't want me to hear it. And I do have a hard stop here so that we can go Nutrify. So it's about nutrition. God didn't need help. We don't need supplements or genetic modification. GMO was the problem. What is a flavor saver tomato? it looks really pretty and it's thin skinned. Come on, folks, let's put some skin on it and skin in the game. I mean, just when we change our words and we make sure, and that's why I love you, Glenn, because you know, you made me sing on stage. I'm the only one in my family who has absolutely no musical talent.
But was that not some fun though?
Yes,
that was so out of the box. See, if y'all don't know, we did a show together last year in Jupiter, and they had a couple of musicians on before me, and I thought, man, these people have heard enough just singing. Let's do something different. And I went up to Judy. I said, Judy, have you ever sang a duet with a country music singer in front of people? And she said, no. I said, would you like to? And she said, yeah.
Oh,
and
my
so
God.
we performed my song, No New Normal, in front of hundreds of people. And she did a great job.
I love it.
I want a recording of that.
Yeah.
Where is that?
Judy was talking about was powdered nutrition. You know, we both support a company called Cardio Miracle. And what was so striking for me was we all struggle with trying to find that one easy solution for people to go from not knowing to knowing. Or
what's the website for that? Cardio Miracle.
CardioMiracle.com.
Yeah.
And Dr. Judy is their scientific chief scientific advisor, and she's done a wonderful job. When we look at, and again, she's talking about whole food, right, guys? So I know Judy's got to go, but
it's just freeze-dried whole food. So I'll let you carry on, and we'll hit it for today, and we'll come back and talk more. I just love everything you're doing, you guys, and just, you know, it's all about transparency now, and when we spend our time and we show you how really simple God made it. It's not complicated. If you write a word like Vemlet, just say, nah.
What? Hey, Judy, what's the website for the Real Food Knowledge?
Real Food Knowledge RFK.net or .org. And it's the flyer's right behind me. If we can make that a little bit bigger. I can't.
Is RFK.net work?
There you go.
Okay. All right, we got that there. Guys, we're running close to our hour being up anyway. Judy, I know you got to go. Lisa and Tim, if you guys can hang out in the back for a minute, we'll chat about whether we need to continue this in the next week, because we may do that. There's some other things we need to talk about. And I think Judy's hung up again, or she's smiling real big, one or the other. So, guys, I appreciate you being on the show. Hang tight. Let me finish this up. Guys, again, Glenn Baker, finish this fight. We do this every week. We bring truth. We bring fun. We bring some hard stuff to listen to. Guys, this is a weird time to be alive. It's an amazing time to be alive if you know, if you're in the battle, if you're part of the solution. If you're scared, it's crazy, weird time to be alive. Don't be scared. Find Jesus. Go ask God to reveal himself. Let him take away that fear, because fear is all around you and it's being forced on you. It's being forced on you by the government. It's being forced on you by advertisers. It's being forced on you. You don't have to take part in it. God did not send a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And you can participate in that. And you can participate in that with us. If you have anything that you need to chat about, send me a message on my YouTube channel. Send me a message on Facebook. I'll get back with you. And on the other side, we will see you guys next week. We got a couple of shows lined up. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've got a whistleblower coming up that's possibly going to be on next week. That's going to be powerful. But whatever we do, just know we do it because we love you. This is not something I ever had planned on doing in my lifetime, but God said this is it. So we're going to get it done. We're going to get it done the best we can. Remember this, Uncle Glenn loves you, and I will see you on the other side.
Forward, ho, left, 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 right, your left, 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 right. Down,
Arkansas boy with a lifelong plan took the oath like his old man, then turned around proud